One more we're going to take a look at. The final next-gen stat that we'll look at is best in coverage in the 2019 season. Takes into account passer rating allowed against, catch rate allowed below expectation, tight window percentage, target rate, average separation yards allowed. So that's basically how open is the guys covering. Stephon Gilmore from New England, number 1. J.C. Jackson, number 2. Tre'Davious White, 4. Denzel Ward, 7th on that, which again surprised me a little bit. And what they say, Ward lands here in large part due to the numbers he produced while facing the highest target rate among the group. There's also his coverage success rate, 61%, his ball hawking rate, 14.3%, impressive on their own, but it also comes with Ward's tight window rate of 28.6%. He's blanketing receivers and doing so consistently, with his 77 targets accounting for nearly a quarter of his coverage snaps. Teams seldom enjoyed success when they threw at Ward. His 2020 numbers should be even better if he can get through the season without any injuries, is what Next Gen Stat says. And Dan, I got to be honest, that one surprised me a little bit. When you think of Denzel Ward, you think of a guy with a lot of talent that just hasn't been able to put it together consistently and stay healthy.
I think Denzel Ward suffered a little bit last year from sort of a bad first impression. Obviously, his rookie year was fantastic. He made the Pro Bowl. And then he came out last year, and he did struggle a little bit early on. And I think that sort of stuck with people. He struggled, and then he had the hamstring injury and missed some time, didn't come back until after the bye week last year. But I actually thought after he kind of got through that stretch, he was really good. He looked more like the guy that we saw his rookie year, the guy that was a Pro Bowler. But sometimes when you're a cornerback, if you start the year slow and you get beat a couple times, later in the year when you get beat, it stands out. Oh, there's Denzel Ward. He got beat again. But I do think he played really well last year. The question with him is always going to be health. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He had the 2 concussions his rookie year. He did manage to play in the Pro Bowl that year, so that was certainly a good sign. And then last year it was the hamstring injury. And that's going to be something to watch with a lot of these guys. With no spring program, without knowing exactly if training camp is going to start on time and what these guys are going to come into camp looking like. We got to watch for some of those hamstring pulls and things like that. But if Ward can stay on the field, I think he's got a chance to get back to the Pro Bowl this year.
The other thing is the Browns under Joe Woods seem content on getting pressure with their guys up front, which again, that should just help Denzel Ward.
Yeah, you don't have to cover as long. You hope Greedy Williams can take a step forward this year, because I do think those guys have the potential to complement each other really well. Ward is a smaller, faster, more coverage-oriented guy. Greedy's more of a ball hawk. He's got some length. He's got some size. If he can make a jump in year 2, you've got a pretty nice setup at corner. And of course, you have Kevin Johnson now on the inside to cover slot guys. Safety's a question mark, but yeah, if you're creating pressure on the quarterback, that changes everything for the entire defense, but especially the secondary.
Last question I'll ask you, Joe Woods. Do you like what he's trying to do defensively? Do you like the thinking? I know he spoke last week. Again, there seems to be a plan there that fits to the personnel that the Browns have. Did you get that sense as well?
I did, and I really like what Joe Woods brings. Obviously, he's won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator, so you love that. In San Francisco, he wasn't the coordinator there, but he comes from that program where it was all about that front four and creating pressure. And we talk about the offense a lot, how they built this offense. Now it's really clear. You can kind of close your eyes and see what this offense is going to look like based on who they've signed, who they've drafted. And when you look on the defensive side, a lot of those resources went to the line. They went to the interior of the line. They had a little bit of depth on the edges. The question marks are at linebacker and still a little bit in the secondary. But they certainly made those investments, especially on the interior of the line. This team wants to create pressure at all levels. And it's just clear. You can kind of, again, close your eyes a little bit and see sort of how they want that defense to look based on the moves they've made this offseason.